Special modifications of the stem. Now these are all very, very special, very peculiar modifications. Normally this type of modification is not very common. That is called a special modifications of the stem. We are going to take two plants. The first one, this is called the cactus plants, Opuntia. Already we have studied Opuntia example. Now this is the Opuntia. Now here the soil surface will be there. Now this is very common in the dry area, even in our surrounding where the area is very dry, you can see. Now this is the stem, the green flattened structures will be stem. Normally stem means it will be cylindrical. Okay, it will be cylindrical. But here the stem is modified into green and flattened structure. This is the node, internode. Like that many divisions are there. But everywhere the stem is green and flattened. Now normally the leaves will be green. The leaves will be provided with the chlorophyll. But in this plant, stem is provided with the chlorophyll. Okay, it is a thick and leathery. The stem is a thick and leathery. The stem is bearing leaves, but you can't find leaves. All the leaves are modified into thorns. All the leaves are modified into thorns. The thorns are giving protection to the stem. The thorns are giving protection to the stem. So the cattle cannot come and eat the stem because it is thick and leathery. Okay, it is very soft. But they will try to eat, but because of the presence of thorns, the stem is well protected. So the leaves are modified into thorns. Leaves cannot prepare the food by photosynthesis. So the stem is green, the stem is a flattened, the stem is a performing the function of the leaf. That is, they are producing, the stem divisions are producing lot of food, starch. So this modification of the stem is to perform photosynthesis. That is called Phylloclad or spines, we can say. A lot of spines are there. Spines means leaves. Now the Phylloclad is the flattened green stem. This is one plant. That is Phylloclad, example Opuntia. Now we are coming to the second diagram. Now here the second picture we can see. Very thin plant is there. So the stem is able to stand vertically erect. But the stem is of course maybe green. The stem is green. Here also the stem is performing the function of photosynthesis. But leaves are there, but the leaves are reduced. They are not broad. They are not green, flattened and broad. The leaves are modified into thread-like structures. Of course, they may be green, but the thread-like leaves cannot prepare sufficient food. So that the stem is also preparing the food. The thread-like leaves, what are produced, what are modified are called scaly leaves. These leaves are called scaly leaves. Now the whole plant is coming under modification called cladode. Now see this cladode. Example for this is asparagus. Now we are coming to the next one, thorns. Okay, in the stem we can find some thorns. The thorns, how they are developed, you have to see. Apical buds are developing into thorns. For example, the stem is having a lot of branches. But at the tip of each branch, bud is needed. Bud should be present. What is that bud? Terminal bud. Otherwise called the apical bud. But the complete tip of the stem is modified into thorn. So the cattle cannot come and touch the plant. Whenever they are bringing the mouth closer, the thorns will poke. So the leaves cannot be eaten away by that. So giving good protection to the leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. Okay, leaves are there, flowers, fruits. Everything is well protected. Because at the tip of each and every stem and branches, the thorns will be there. So since they are present, the thorns are present at the tip, they are called apical thorns. Apical buds are modified into thorns. Axillary buds are developing into thorns in another plant, citrus. Citrus means the lemon plant, orange plant, there and all we can find. Now this is the main stem. Okay, this is the main stem. Now over the main stem, nodes are there. Nodes, branches, everything. Now this is one branch. Here also one branch. But at the base of the branch, you can see one thorn. In the axil of the branch, in the axil of the leaf also, some thorns will be present. They are axillary in position, so that they are called axillary bud developing into thorns. So they are also giving protection. Okay, they are also giving protection. So for Cariza and also for citrus, the apical buds are modified into thorns in Cariza. Lateral buds or axillary buds are modified into thorns in citrus. Now we are coming to SubAerial stem modification. So far we have studied about aerial stem modification, the stem which is present above the soil, aerial stem. Now we are coming to the meaning of subaerial stem. What is the meaning of subaerial stem? In some plants, the stem, majority of the portion of the stem will be above the soil. But one small portion of the stem will be buried inside the soil. The portion of the stem which is buried inside the soil we can call as subaerial. Sub means below, below the air. That means they are not present in the air, below the air, that means in the soil. That is called a subaerial stem. They are modified to do some special functions. What are they? We have to see. Now I am taking one plant. Okay, the first one, A, runner. The modification is called a runner. Example, Oxalis. Now the Oxalis plant is there. Now this is one plant. First I will take only one plant. Now this is the main stem. Now here the root system is there. If you take the main stem, one portion is present below the soil, one portion is present little above the soil. From the upper part of the stem, the leaves are arising. They may be long like the green. Okay, leaves are arising. Now this is the subaerial stem. Now the subaerial stem is bearing the roots. But from the subaerial stem, one branch is arising. Okay, one branch is arising. Okay, now these branches are running at the side of the plant. Okay, it is running at the side of the plant. So the branch which is at the soil level, okay, the surface of the soil, we can call as runner branch. Okay, the branch is called the runner branch. Now this runner branch is growing up to certain distance. After that, it is a stop growing. One portion is going below the soil, producing the root. Leaves are here. One set of leaves will be there. Then again one more branch will be starting. That branch is growing up to certain distance. The stem is buried into the soil. One small portion, roots will be there. Then leaves will be formed. Then after the development of many plants like this, the lateral branches will cut off. So the main plant and the other plants will be separated. So one plant can produce maybe 10 to 15 plants at a time. This is actually called that is one. In some plants, the main stem is partially present below the soil level. I told you what is the meaning of subaerial. Such a portion of the stem is called a subaerial stem. So in that first one is a runner. That means the lateral branches growing on the surface of the soil. Okay, the second one we are going to see. The same way, it is called a stolon. It is called a stolon. Fragaria. Name of the plant is Fragaria. What is actually this? Now this is only one plant I am taking. At the beginning, sorry, this plant. This is the main plant. It is having underground stem. This is the underground stem portion because this is the soil surface. Okay, underground stem is present. Roots will be present. Now aerial part, leaves are there. Now from the underground portion of the stem, one branch is arising. But the branch is growing above the soil like an arc. Okay, it is not touching the ground. But here the lateral branch, the side branches are touching the ground. But this will grow above the ground like an arch. Then it is growing, bending again, coming into the soil, and it is forming one more set of roots, one more set of leaves. So it is acting like a separate plant. Like that, many branches will be formed from the main plant. Maybe 2, 3, 4 will be formed. How many branches are developed like this? That many number of new plants will be developed. Then after a period of time, these side branches will be cut off and all the plants will be separated. So in the place of one plant, maybe 5, 6 plants will be developed. Now this lateral branch which is growing arc-like above the soil is called a stolon. The branch is called a stolon. Example, Fragaria. So all are for vegetative reproduction, for multiplication of the plant. The third type we are coming. Okay, the third type. It is called a sucker. S-U-C-K-E-R, sucker. Now this is the main stem of the plant. One small portion of the stem is buried into the soil. This is called a subaerial stem. Small portion. Below the subaerial stem, the roots will be there. So from the underground portion of the stem, some branches will be growing, started arising. But you can't see upper, above the soil surface, you can't see the branches. The branches are arising below the soil level. Then they grow, the branch, assume that this is one branch I am taking. It is growing up to certain distance in the soil, then it is coming out of the soil. The branch is coming out of the soil, bearing the leaves. Now this branch, what is arising below the soil level is called a sucker. The branch is called a sucker. Now after a period of time, from the underground portion of the branch, roots will be developed. Once the roots are formed, this branch will cut off from the main plant. Then it is a leading independent life. It is one plant. Example for this is chrysanthemum. Okay. Now the chrysanthemum is very common plant. Every day we are using it for cooking. In common name in Tamil is pudina. That pudina plant is this one, chrysanthemum. The next one is offset. This plant is an aquatic plant. It is a free floating hydrophyte. Now this plant is floating on the surface of water. I told you they are present in the lakes, in the mountain areas, or in some places and all you can find. Now this is the water body. This is the water surface. I am taking one main plant. This is called the Eichhornia plant. Now this plant is called what? Eichhornia. Now this Eichhornia is having very thick, stout and large leaves will be present. Now lot of lobes will be there. Leaves will be present. Leaves are very, very lighter, very, very soft. So the entire plant can float. Now this is a small portion of the stem, but it is present below the water level. Lot of roots will be arising. Roots are there. Fibrous roots. So fibrous roots will be there, and that is what? SubAerial stem will be there. Lot of leaves will be present above the water. This is one plant. The name of the plant is Eichhornia. Okay, Eichhornia. Then after a period of time, from the stem, what is present below the water level, one lateral branch is arising. This branch is growing in water, but it won't come out of the water. It won't come up of the water. It will grow inside the water up to a certain distance. At the tip of the branch, one new plant will be formed. Again the same way. Now this branch is called the offset. The branch is called the offset. Once this new plant is well established with the root, underground, SubAerial stem and also the leaves, then the offset will cut off. Anywhere, either here or here or here, anywhere it will cut off. So the main plant will be there. The new plant is completely separated, leading independent life. At a time, one offset can prepare or can produce 3 or 4 branches like this at a time. So nearly about 3 or 4 new plants will be produced. So there are 4 modifications of SubAerial stem, what we have studied. One is runner, next one is stolen, next one is sucker, the last one is offset. Everything is for vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means reproduction with the help of vegetative parts. Now we are coming to the third modification, underground stem modification. First aerial modification is over. Next one is SubAerial modification is also over. Third one is underground stem modifications. Now in some plant the stem is totally buried into the soil. Totally buried. Not even a small portion of the stem is visible above the soil. Such type of stem we can call as underground stem. They are modified. They are changing the shape, size, structure to perform some special function. That is called the underground stem modification. In some plants, the whole main stem is buried in the soil. Such a stem is called the underground stem. Now there are 4 modifications we are going to see. One is bulb, is a modification name. Second one is a rhizome. Third one is culm. Last one is tuber. These are the 4 types of modified underground stems are present. Now we will say what are they. Now the first one, if you take bulb, in the name itself we can understand something is bulgy, that is called a bulb. The best example for this is Allium cepa. Allium cepa, that is onion. Now if you take one onion, now this is only the uprooted picture. Now one onion if you take, now this is the stem. Actually the onion is the underground stem. This is the onion portion what we are eating, we are cooking and eating. Now this is buried into the soil. Up to this soil level will be there. Above that only long leaves, thin cylindrical leaves will be present. Green leaves will be there, arising from the stem. Now the whole part is buried into the soil. At the bottom of this one small disc will be there. From here roots will be arising. The roots are absorbing water and minerals and are supplying everything to the stem. Now the stem is storing water, minerals, everything, and it is becoming bigger and bigger. Now in the stem, underground stem, some axillary buds will be developed inside. We cannot say outside. Axillary buds will be formed inside the stem. Now when the plant is mature, now the plant is well matured, the underground stem is grown up well. Then each axillary bud, what is present here, maybe 2, 3, 4 will be there. So each axillary bud is later on developing into one tiny plant like this. After that it is separated. After that this onion will not be there. The onion is completely divided into 4 small pieces. So from each piece, one new plant will be growing. Then later on, 4 onions will be developed. So from one onion, 4 onions will be developed. I am telling number 4, but it may be 3 or 4 or 5, like that. So this is actually underground stem modification with for vegetative reproduction and also for storage of food material, both. Two functions are there. One is vegetative propagation, reproduction. Another one is storage of food. Then the second one, we are coming to rhizome. Now the rhizome is the modification. Why we are giving to this rhizome? Here I told you bulb means bulgy. But rhizome means any irregular stem. The stem is not having proper shape. The stem will be irregular in shape. That is called a rhizome. Example for this is gingiber. Gingiber means ginger. Now the ginger is a stem. What we are consuming is a stem. It is totally buried into the soil. Now it is having some lines. It will be brown in color. It is having some lines. If you take one and if you wash it well, you can see thin lines will be there. Each line is called a node. In between the two nodes, the region is called an internode. So the stem is a storing food. The stem is a storing food. Now at the axil of the bud, if you take this is the node. Here at the axil of the leaf or anything, your bud will be present. This is called the axillary bud. Now in the picture, only one bud is given. Like that, here one bud, here like that. 4 or 5 tiny buds will be present. Now it is a storing food. The season is over. It has enlarged maximum. Imagine like this. Imagine that over this single stem, irregular stem, 5 axillary buds are there. Each axillary bud later on will develop into one young plant. For that, this stem is supplying food. So how much amount of food is stored here will be supplied to 5 buds. So 5 new plants will be produced. So it is called a reproduction. Once one, now for example, I am taking this axillary bud, it is developing into one new plant. At the bottom now, slowly the stem will be cut off. One small piece will go separately. But the small piece of this ginger will later on develop into a big ginger underground stem. So what the farmers will do, a few plants they will leave it in the soil, the rest of the things they will harvest and take for marketing. So that is the profit for them. So this is the way one large ginger which is underground stem will be multiplying into many plants. Not only that, multiplication plus storage of food material in the stem. Now we are coming to the next one. It is called a culm. Now the culm is also storing the food. It is also underground. Then what is the difference between this and this? This is totally irregular in shape. But this will be stone-like appearance will be there. Stone-like. Okay, it will be irregular. Big mass of a stem will be present. This is called. It is also having nodes and internodes. Okay, it is also having nodes and internodes. Now wherever the nodes are present, axillary buds will be there. Maybe 5, 6, 7, sometimes even 10. Okay. Now, but in this, there is a normally what is a seen in the vegetable shop. If you take, it will be somewhat cylindrical in nature. Okay, it will be cylindrical in nature. It is a little harder. It is a having brown color outer covering. Okay, over the outer covering, some ring-like structures you can see. Okay, now the ring-like structures are called a node. The brown covering, what is present, is called a scaly leaf. Okay, scaly leaf means it is not green leaf. It is brown color leaf-like structure. Axillary buds will be there. Normally in this type of vegetables and all, only 2 or 3 axillary buds will be present. Each axillary bud will develop into new plant. Now they are supplying food. After that, this one underground stem is broken into 3 pieces, small pieces, supplying food to the new plants. But each new plant is producing one large culm, underground stem. So storing lot of food material. So they are multiplying like this. Any number. So one plant can produce minimum 3 plants. So like that multiplication is taking place and it is producing lot of food. The common vegetable what we are getting from this underground is colocasia. Okay, colocasia. The last one we are coming to this, it is called a tuber. The underground stem is a more or less oval shaped. That is called a tuber. Actually cylindrical, but it is called a oval shaped structure. The best example for this is Solanum tuberosum, potato, vegetable potato. Now if you see this one potato, it will be somewhat elongated, oval in shape and cylindrical in the side way if you take. Potato if you take, it is completely buried into the soil. One potato if you take, outer brown color skin will be present. It is called a scale leaf. But on the surface, if you take a number of pit-like structures, you can see a number of pit-like structures. In the pit-like structures, if you see one small projection, a small projection, black color dot like, brown color dot like will be there. The small projection found in the pit is called the axillary bud. If you take one potato, maybe 10 to 12 small pit-like structures will be there. In the pit-like structures, the buds will be present. Each pit is having one bud. Once this potato, the underground stem is well grown, maximum it is reaching the maximum size, then each axillary bud will develop into one new plant. If 10 buds are there, 10 plants, new plants will be developed. So this potato will be divided into 10 pieces in the next season. So 10 plants are growing. But once the leaves are coming up, the leaves are preparing, then each young leaf is producing one potato. So in the place of one potato, we are finding 10 potatoes. So that is actually the multiplication, also storing lot of food material. Now these are all the 4 underground stem modifications for 2 purposes. The modification is for 2 purposes. One is for vegetative propagation, that is reproduction. Second one is storage of food material. Now we are coming to the branchings of the stem. Say rarely some plants only the stem is not branched. But most of the plants, if you take, the branches will be there. What are the different types of branching? We have to see. In many plants, the main stem is divided into many branches to expose all the leaves to the sunlight. The purpose of branching is bearing the leaves and showing or exposing all the leaves to the sunlight, so that all the leaves will get maximum sunlight, all the leaves can prepare maximum food material. Now we are coming to the types of branching. So the branching is very, very important. Now what are the various types of branchings are there? Lateral branching. Lateral means side branches. In many plants you can find that side branches will be there. It is also called monopodial branching. Monopodial branching. So what is that meaning for this? The main stem shows indeterminate growth. What is the meaning of indeterminate growth? Continuous growth. The main stem is having continuous growth. That is, and also the lateral branches will be there, but the branches will be having limited growth. Okay, that is called a lateral branches. The main stem shows indeterminate growth and the branches will be showing limited growth. Example, polyalthia. Now the polyalthia is nothing but Ashoka tree. The Ashoka tree, if you take, the main stem is growing taller and taller, branches will be very, very shorter. Polyalthia. Casuarina. Okay, that also on the sides of the roads and all, where the seashore is there, that plant is growing, Casuarina. The next one is a dichotomous branching. The dichotomous branching is also called a sympodial branching. Now in the name itself we can understand di. Now it is one stem is growing, at the tip of the stem only 2 branches will be there, fixed number. That is called a dichotomous branching. The main stem grows determinately. Determinately means limited growth. Once the limited growth is over, for example, it is growing. Okay, up to this, when it is reaching, the growth will be stopped. That is called a determinate growth. After that, it won't grow. But here at the tip, 2 branches will be arising. The branches will grow. So that is called a dichotomous branching, sympodial branching. The main stem shows determinate growth. Example, cycas. Now we are coming to the next part of the shoot system. In the shoot system, first one, stem is over. Okay, the next one, we are going to study about the leaf. So leaves singular, leaves plural. What are the general characters of the leaves? Now generally when we say about what is the leaf means, you can say it is green in color, it is flattened in nature, it is having a stalk, like that we can say. The same thing we are going to study. Lateral appendages of the stem. What is the meaning of appendages? The structure. Lateral structure of the stem. One stem is there, leaves are the side growths. That is called a lateral. Lateral means sides. The lateral appendages of the stem. Arising from the nodes of the stem. Always the leaves are arising from the nodes. They will never arise from any other region. Rarely some occasions, some exceptions will be there. Arising from the node of the stem. It is exogenous in origin. Already this term has come. Now exo means outer surface. When the leaf is growing from the stem, the base of the leaf is touching outer region of the stem. Outer region. Superficial region, that is called exogenous in origin, so that easily the leaf you can pluck off, but only little damage will be there for the stem. That is called exogenous in origin. Have limited growth. Now the leaves are always having limited growth. For example, at the beginning the leaf will be tiny young leaf, very very small leaf. But when the ages are increasing, it is growing, it is reaching one particular size. After that it won't grow, but the days will be going on, weeks will be going on, but it won't grow. That is called a limited growth. Base axillary buds, this also we have studied. Now one main stem is present, one axil of the leaf is there. Now here the leaf is there. Now in the axil, in gap between that, one space is there, it is called the axil of the leaf. The bud will be present. Base axillary buds. A leaf has three main parts. Any leaf if you take, generally if you take, three parts will be there. One is the base of the leaf. We are going to study about that base of the leaf in separate picture we are going to have. Base of the leaf. The base only will touch the stem. Now this is the main stem. Node is there. Now the base of the leaf is touching the stem. That is called the base. Leaf base. Petiole. It is a stalk. The stalk may be shorter or it may be longer. So the stalk of the leaf is called a petiole, and lamina, the green flattened portion is called a lamina. The lamina is also called a leaf blade. The lamina is also called a leaf blade. The last point, lamina is traversed by vascular strands called veins. But if you observe the lamina, some lines will be there, one at the center, lot of branches, again they are branched. That is called vascular strands. They are made up of vessels. The vessels are xylem and phloem. Okay, so that they are called vascular strands called veins. Common name we are giving to that as veins. So, lot of lines are there. The lines are called veins. These are the general characters of the leaf. Now, functions of the leaf. The leaves are performing some important functions. In that primary functions, that is the purpose of formation of leaf will be doing certain important functions. The important functions we can call as primary functions, main functions we can say. Photosynthesis. So in any plant if you take, the leaf is green means it is meant for photosynthesis. That is the first one. Second one is a transpiration. Now this is another important function. Say the root system of the plant, any plant if you take, it is constantly absorbing water 24 hours and supplying the water to the stem. Stem is supplying the water to the leaves. But a leaf needs only limited amount of water for the survival in a day. But excess of water will be there in the leaf. But the excess of water should be sent out. If the water is accumulating in the plant, in the leaves more and more, the leaf will be decayed. But the plant is protecting itself from this. But what will happen? Imagine that, for example, one plant, all the leaves are getting 1000 ml of water. Only 200 ml of water is enough to maintain the life of the day. The remaining 900 ml of water will be evaporated from the leaf. The excess of water is evaporated in the presence of sunlight. This evaporation of excess of water, that is very very important. Evaporation of excess of water from the plant through the leaf is called transpiration. Through the leaf. From the stem, evaporation will not take place. From the flowers and fruits, evaporation will not take place. It takes place only through the leaf. This evaporation of excess of water from the plant through the leaf is called transpiration. It is a second important function. So that what will happen? Water balance is well maintained. Now normal amount of water will be there. The third one is gaseous exchange. Now here the gaseous exchange we have to study two. One is respiration. When the plant is breathing or respiring, oxygen is taken in, carbon dioxide is given out, like all animals. Even we are also doing the same thing in the respiration. Oxygen is taken, carbon dioxide is given out. That is respiration, gaseous exchange in the respiration process. Now gaseous exchange, that is one gas is taken, another one gas is given out. Oxygen is taken, carbon dioxide is given out. But the leaf is performing one more function, that is photosynthesis. But only at the time of photosynthesis, what the leaves are doing, they are doing opposite. Carbon dioxide is taken and oxygen is given out. So opposite of respiration. It is also gaseous exchange. One gas is taken in, one gas is given out. It is called a gas. So both are performed by the leaf. That is gaseous exchange. The last one is protection of bud. Assume that one bud is there, young bud is there. Young leaf is covering the bud. In the tip of the stem, normally you can find it, one leaf is going to develop. but definitely one axillary bud will be there. The young leaf, tiny leaf will be covering the bud. But when the leaf is growing, the leaf is coming away from the bud and then it is growing and becoming broader and larger lamina. So that is at the young stage, they are giving protection to the buds. These are all the 4 important main functions. Now we are coming to secondary functions. We are going to study about the secondary functions. What are the secondary functions? First one is storage. First one is called what? Storage. Now the stem of some plants are storing the food material. Example, agave. Now the next one is protection. That means the stem is well protected with the help of some thorns. The thorns are modified leaves. I told already. Now that is called the protection. Example, opentia. Support. The stem is giving additional support. Example, gloriosa. Last one is the reproduction. Even the stem, the leaves, the leaves of the plants will reproduce. Even the leaves of the plants will reproduce like underground stem, sub aerial stem like that. So reproduction. Example, bryophyllum.